be able to offer continuous service to more than 90% of the world's population.
And now, your podcast hosts, Andre and Christian.
Welcome to Connecting for Future, the podcast that explores the exciting world of technology and innovation. I'm your host, Christian Köstling, and joining me, as always, Andre Borusiak. Andre, how are you today?
I'm doing great, Christian. Thank you. And I'm really excited about today's podcast, Connecting for Future, because we're talking about a very special topic that not everybody of our listeners might have heard about, but they will be impacted in the near future. So I'm really excited to have our guest today.
Absolutely, Andre. We have a very special guest joining us from the United States. Please welcome Chris Ivory, the Chief Commercial Officer at AST SpaceMobile. Chris, thank you for joining us today.
No, thank you very much, Christian and Andre. It's a pleasure to be here. It's an honor to be on your podcast. Thank you.
Chris, let's start by talking about AST SpaceMobile and the groundbreaking work you're doing. Could you tell our listeners a little bit more about your company and the mission?
So we're an American-based company headquartered in Texas, and we are a satellite designer and manufacturer. And what our objective is to help close the digital divide by providing affordable mobile broadband services on a global basis. And we're doing this through we're in the process of testing and building a low Earth orbit satellite constellation that will enable the extension of the mobile network operators 2G, 4G, and 5G coverage into rural areas. And the unique thing with our service, we do not require any modification to the mobile device. So any standard 3GPP compliant mobile device will work with our service. And we've tested and proven this already, which I'll get into a little bit later about what we're doing right now. But it makes it a very unique service, and we're the only cellular broadband service that will be provided from a satellite. We do this in close partnership with our mobile network operator partners. We actually cannot have the service available in a specific country unless we do have a commercial agreement with our partners, Vodafone being one of the very most important ones, and also an investor, and they were proud to say an investor in AST. And but we work closely with with each M&O partner to identify the gaps in their 4G, 5G coverage in areas, and help fill that service so that an end user, your customers, can have up to 100% geographic and 100% population coverage using their existing devices.
So just to get that straight, I'm not sure if everybody knows about this technology yet. So you can use your normal mobile phone and have satellite communication? Is that right?
It's absolutely right. What you could picture is the satellite is like a space-based cell tower. The MNO decides, where do you want to use our SpaceMobile service, and where do we not want to use it, so we're not creating any interference with the terrestrial network. But what we're doing is we are extending the mobile operators' coverage into the areas of where there is no service today, always on a non-interference basis, but it's providing broadband speeds, so the 4G, 5G speeds.
Perfect. Last year when we met at Omar, Chris, you were just about to launch the first satellite into orbit, into space. And I can imagine this is a real special moment for you all guys. So can you explain a little bit about how this went and what the expectation was and what the emotions were doing with you and your team?
Yeah, it was a really exciting time. We successfully launched our second test satellite called Blue Walker 3 in September 10th with SpaceX. And this, what we've done is really revolutionary, because the satellite is a very unique design, and I know the listeners out there can't see this, but it's the size of the satellite it's a large phased array antenna, which is 8 meters by 8 meters. This is the largest satellite in the LEO in LEO orbit today. But the unique design of the satellite is something, a structure of 8 meters by 8 meters does not fit into a rocket, so we had to load it in a stowed configuration, and we were then probably the biggest challenge of the entire program was how do we take that satellite from a stowed configuration and unfold it on orbit when it's traveling 17,000 miles per hour. We successfully did that in November. And then since November and actually through now, we've have achieved a lot of historical milestones. We made the first voice call using AT&T spectrum in the U.S. To our CEO Abel Avilan, called one of our other investors, the CEO of Rakuten, Mickey Mikitani, for the first voice call ever made in 2G GSM. And then just last week, we publicly announced that we achieved download speeds with the satellite in excess of 10 megabits to a unmodified standard handset. So we're continuing to test our LTE. Later this year, we'll be moving into 5G, but making very, very good progress, and we're really excited with where we are and making the service in the future commercially available so we can help close the digital divide and provide affordable broadband services to our MNO partner customers.
That's pretty awesome, right? So that's basically the largest commercial communication array ever deployed in low Earth orbit, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
And how many satellites may SpaceMobile require in order to say, hey, it works globally?
So we need for near global coverage, we need less than 100 satellites to provide continuous service for a large portion of where more than 90% of the population lives today.
And all have the same size as the one which you can see basically if you look up you could actually see it, right, from Earth.
Yeah, well, we are doing some things that to prevent that it being bright to disrupt the night sky, so that it's very difficult to see from the ground. But for the commercial network, we're addressing that. But our current launch plans are Q1 of next year. We're planning on launching the first 5 commercial satellites. These will be the similar size of Blue Walker 3, the 8 meters by 8 meters. And then second half of 2024, we're targeting to begin launching the second phase, which will be larger satellites, which will be 15 meters by 15 meters. And each one of these, as we're moving up in size, have a significant amount more power than what we're currently testing with on Blue Walker 3. So the capability, we will continue to improve the capability of the performance of the satellite.
And you can fit these big satellites also in existing spaceships?
Yeah, we can. It depends on the launcher that we're going to use. We're the first 5 that we're launching early next year. We've already signed an agreement with SpaceX. We're taking all 5 satellites will be on one SpaceX launcher. We will be the only ride. It's not a ride share. We've bought the entire rocket. And then we're still evaluating which launcher and what is the best option for all of the future launches.
Is that a risk for you also to have all 5 satellites in one single launcher?
Well, I mean, if you look at SpaceX's track record, they launch 50 to 75 of their own Starlink satellites on a single launch. So we think we're very comfortable with putting all 5 with SpaceX.
AST SpaceMobile founded 2017. How did the whole idea started? Did you thought, hey, I was in the US, didn't have any coverage, and we need to do something?
Well, it was founded by our CEO Abel Avelan. I've actually personally I've known Abel since 2000, but have been working with him since 2005. I was part of one of his first startup, which was a company called Emerging Markets Communications. It was an end-to-end satellite VSAT satellite services provider, where we provided basically managed networks to the oil and gas community, the United Nations, enterprises around the world, and we were successfully built that business up. And Abel, we sold it in 2016. Abel had plans on retiring that lasted only a few months, and then he's an engineer by trade, but he's a brilliant engineer. And he started looking at how can we connect a satellite to a standard mobile device. And he founded the company and started off with the initial capital that he funded himself. But it's really been Abel's brainchild and focus and desire to provide affordable broadband communications on a global basis. But he is he's the big driver behind this, and is very, very much involved in the design of the constellation.
Just a personal question from my side. I know that AST SpaceMobile is based in Midland, Texas. And way back in my history, I lived in Texas during high school, right? And since then, I really take some time to look at the developments in Texas, and I see there's a lot of tech companies being active in Texas. Is that also a reason why Texas has been chosen as HQ?
Yeah, so we were recruited there by the city. They had a vacant facility, which is now our headquarters. And if anybody who's familiar with Midland, it's in the Permian Basin, and actually has, I think, one of the largest oil and natural gas reserves in the world. And so it's a very strong economy when the energy sector is strong, but when it's when oil prices come down, it can affect their economy. So they've very, very smartly looked at alternatives of diversifying from the energy sector. Always knowing that energy is always going to be the main their main industry. But they chose aerospace, and so they have actively recruited a number of aerospace companies into the area, and we're really, really happy with the partnership that we have with the city. There's good talent that we've been able to recruit there, and also but the excellent facilities that we have for manufacturing and also assembly. I mean, since we moved there in 2018, we have expanded to another facility. So we have two facilities, and where we have 185,000 square feet of manufacturing and assembly. That's where 100% of the assembly of the satellites are taking place, and a good portion of the manufacturing is also taking place in Midland.
That's cool. And Chris, just again for my information, like if for instance I don't have any coverage, would I get an SMS to say, hey, with this SMS I can reconfirm saying, hey, I want to jump on satellite communication, or would this go automatically, or is this not clear yet?
So there's a couple of different ways that the end users will be able to access this, and this is all things that we're actively working out with each one of the MNOs. One is, as you stated, you move into an area that is not currently covered by Vodafone, for example. Vodafone would send you a text message. It's notifying you've moved into a Vodafone SpaceMobile covered area. If you'd like to continue to have your broadband coverage, you can opt in, and they would say for a day pass, it's X X euros per day. The other one is that what we're seeing it as like an add-on service, very similar to like an international roaming plan that many of us have, where you can pay a small monthly recurring fee, and then you just seamlessly move in and out of the covered areas, so that there's it's frictionless. There's no need for that text messaging. But we've also seen that there's a lot of other use cases that can be used, particularly around disaster recovery, emergency response, in cases where a weather or any type of a cyber attack or civil unrest disrupts the terrestrial network. Since the design of our network requires very little terrestrial infrastructure, we can be an overlay for first responders in a hurricane situation or a typhoon situation. So there's a lot of additional use cases than just connecting the unconnected that we've seen that bring a lot of value to not only the end users but our mobile network operator partners.
Yeah, I mean, this is really exciting, and I think a lot of people ask themselves, when's the service available for them? I remember that the first region you want to launch the service is in Africa. Is that still the case?
No, it's so the first 5 satellites that we're launching next year will provide intermittent service. We haven't yet publicly disclosed what is going to be the target market for that, but the intermittent service is only for a short period of time until we have enough satellites on orbit to provide the continuous service. That is always our goal, is to provide the same end user experience as we're all accustomed to in an LTE 5G network environment.
That's pretty cool. And we had the pleasure, as Andre already mentioned, to meet you in person at the UMR in Hamburg. And what I also yesterday I checked out your website, as you are wearing now this AST SpaceMobile t-shirt. And you already built a huge commercial shop where people can just shop a lot of stuff on your website. So was this like one of your ideas, just to push this a little bit, or how did this came alive?
No, it was our Abel and our marketing department, because we did have a lot of requests for AST SpaceMobile, the availability for the AST SpaceMobile gear. So we started the online store, and it's been pretty cool. I mean, we have our chief strategy officer, Scott Wisniewski, has been stopped on the street in New York City and in another where he's wearing his SpaceMobile stuff and saying, hey, where'd you get that? I know, I'm an investor in SpaceMobile. So it's getting a little name recognition out there, but it's pretty cool.
That's pretty great.
So Christian, did you order a t-shirt already?
To be honest, not yet, but I definitely want to get one of those with the US flag, right? Where it talks about this Blue Walker 3, right? So that's pretty unique. And Andre, I will also make you to buy at least maybe like a base hat or a hoodie or a t-shirt.
Yeah, I'm all in. I'm all in.
I'll get you guys some stuff.
It's really a great idea, right? So, and it's all about pushing for innovation. And if you just think about, we also had a podcast with Vodacom, with Shamil, right? So if you just listen about like their strategy on e-health, for instance, as they did all the vaccination on their platform, and in Africa, it's different. Everybody has a smartphone, right? So because they don't have like a credit card, they use M-Pesa for their banking stuff. Mm-hmm. So AST SpaceMobile is definitely going to be like key changer in the future.
Yeah, I mean, what we will be able to do when we are commercially available, and how we are going to be able to impact the markets that it's particularly where Shamil and Vodacom, where there are large geographic areas that people that are just unconnected. I think last number I saw from GSMA, there's like 700 million people that live in areas where there's just no communication services whatsoever. So it's not just being able to keep in contact with your friends and family, but it's going to increase enterprise, banking, telehealth. And so, we're very excited about being able to use the platform to better people's lives that are living in unconnected or underserved areas.
Chris, for our tech nerds here, is latency a problem?
Our first satellite that we launched in 2019 actually was launched for us to test our patented what we call delay and Doppler compensation. So if the satellite flying at 500 kilometers, of course, there's going to be a much longer delay than connecting to a tower that is 5 kilometers away. So we first had to prove and develop this delay and Doppler compensation, because a cell tower that's 500 kilometers away is going to have too long of a latency and is not within the 3GPP compliant standards. So we successfully were able to compensate the delay and compensate even the Doppler shift, because the satellite is moving very fast overhead, where it is within 3GPP standards. And that was, as I say, the first thing that we've proven, and we've continued to prove that and test that with Blue Walker 3. We have partnered with Nokia on the eNode Bs, where they have modified their standard eNode Bs to incorporate our delay or Doppler compensation, so that it's part of the network, and there's no changes that the MNO needs to make within their core network. And we're really pleased and happy with the partnership that we have with Nokia. They've been a great technology partner for us.
And I also understand there's also like a certain encryption working, right? So if like satellite communication works, so there's also like a security, so that the voice, the data is basically secured.
So we're compliant with all data privacy, like EU data privacy, because you can look at the satellite is like a bent pipe, and we're just extending the coverage into areas of where the MNO doesn't have anything, and so we don't have access to any of the end user data, because we don't have a core network. We're connecting the core network of Vodafone to their end user, and so so it's a pass through. So whatever types of encryption or data privacy that is currently in the Vodafone network, we can do it. It's just a straight pass through.
So it's clear that you and AST SpaceMobile are driving significant innovations. Looking ahead, what can we expect from SpaceMobile coming in the next years?
So we as I said, we're planning on launching the first 5 commercial satellites beginning of the first part of next year. Those 5 satellites we will be able to have start commercial service. As I stated, for a short period of time, it will be intermittent. So applications like IoT are a good use case for it, because it's something that doesn't require a continuous service. And then moving into the second part of next year to begin launching our what we're calling Block 2 satellites, the larger satellites that will then eventually close out in a certain geographic area for us to be able to provide continuous service. But we're going to continue to move. We're going to continue to launch more, and where we can have be able to offer continuous service to more than 90% of the world's population, and this is all what I said is all we want to make this available to the end users at market-based pricing. So this is not meant to be a luxury item where only the wealthy can afford it, such as like what's the current situation with sat phones. It's a very expensive service that you have to have a dedicated device. This is anybody that can afford a cellular plan today, regardless if you're in the Democratic Republic of Congo or in the United States, where I think we probably have the highest, the most expensive cellular service in the world. It's anybody will be able to purchase a plan, but always through our partners with the like Vodafone and AT&T.
I really like your company purpose, and I also like your explanation of the satellite being just another cell tower. So it's easy to understand. And I think it's so seamless, as you stated, that you don't really know if it's satellite or not. So it's really a cool time ahead, I would say.
Yeah, we're really excited. I mean, this is clearly, it's very disruptive technology, and there's only we only see fantastic benefits to the public, the end users, the economy, to health, and I mean it's almost endless the amount of benefits and good things that extending broadband, affordable broadband service to into the rural areas can provide. So we're really excited. We're honored to be part of part of this new ecosystem, and we intend to continue to be a leader in this in driving affordable broadband services and helping connect the unconnected.
In terms of leaders, Chris, you have a lot of experience with over 26 years, basically working in telecommunications industry, but also satellite industry. What is your advice for young leaders? Like, what should they focus on? Do you got like some secrets which you can share?
Good question. I'll always say, if you're personable, you're flexible, and you have a good work ethic, those are the recipes for success. Anybody who's rigid and cannot accept change is going to have a very difficult time in this world, especially with how things are rapidly changing due to technology, weather, political, whatever it may be. But then also having a very good work ethic of not being able to put in the long hours when it's necessary, and have a good sense of humor about it. Because if you can't laugh at yourself or the folks you work with, it's life becomes extremely stressful.
Should we start our quickfire round then, talking about humor?
Quickfire round.
Meetings, virtual or in person?
In person, much more productive.
What's your favorite day of the week?
Oh, Friday.
Which is the last song you downloaded?
I don't even know if I've ever downloaded a song. My wife normally does that, and I just hear my wife or kids. Yeah, oh goodness, there was a song. I think it was a Chris Stapleton song. I don't even remember it. Oh no, I don't know the name of it. It was a Chris Stapleton Ed Sheeran song, but I think that was probably 5-6 years ago.
Okay, we have to find that one.
Yeah.
Who inspires you, Chris?
My wife.
That's a good one. I like that.
Chris, well, thank you so much for joining us today. Yeah, it was a pleasure just talking to you. And I hope our listeners had some insights what AST SpaceMobile is all about.
And I think Connecting for Future really fits today, right? It always fits, but today it does fit even better.
Absolutely. And make sure you check out the website of AST SpaceMobile, the great store, right? And also, if you want to connect with Chris, you are also on LinkedIn, Chris, right?
That is correct.
There's the place where people can find you.
Yep.
Thank you, Chris.
Oh, thank you, guys. This has been a lot of fun, and I hope I can return sometime in the future to share, the progress that we've made. And you guys have a great show. I really appreciate it.
Thank you to our listeners for tuning in to Connecting for Future. We'll be back next shortly with more insights into the world of technology. Please hit the follow button to stay ahead for future episodes. All the best and take care. Your podcast host, Andre and Christian.